A very important part of Python are the lists. Now, if you remember in C, when you wanted to have a list of something, we would do an array. In Python, we are using what's called a list. Remember, Python is automatically typed. So when you want to do a list, let's call it A, we are just going to say it's a list with the brackets. When you want to add something inside of A, you can use the append function. So append, and here you can put any sort of variables that you want. You can put an integer, you can put a float, or you can put a string, and the list can handle any kind of variables, and it's not necessarily the same variable. So you can have a list that contains an integer, then it contains floating points, then it contains a string, etc. And the list can go on and on and on. Now, the very important thing about lists in Python is that they are very easy to manipulate, and it's kind of the one data structure that we're going to see a lot. The strings are also used a lot inside the for loops that we talked before. So, for example, if you were to write something let's call it D in A. Now, on the next line, you could print that, print D. Now, for every item D inside the list A, you are going to do something with it, which is indented. You can see there's some sort of spaces here. Now you can do anything with D. You can compute something, you can send it to a function, you can just print it like we do, which is sending it to a function. But the important thing is that you are actually using the something in something syntax. And the something here, the A, must be what's called an iterable, and lists are iterable because you can go from the first element to the last element, and you can iterate over the list. And it is kind of the for loop syntax of Python, which is very important. And we're going to talk more about that. Now, an important thing to remember is that Python lists are not arrays. We are going to see in the data structure course that they're actually what's called linked lists. So to summarize, lists in Python are very important data structure. They can handle any kind of data and they can be of arbitrary size. You can call functions because they are classes. We're going to see what that means. You can call function on these lists, or you can use them in a for loop and do some calculation or do whatever you want with what's inside the lists.